Hey, everybody, it's Kevin here from BSD, joined by Joey and Matt on our first live broadcast of Aging Ash and Sticky Balls. Matt, what the hell went on these last couple days? It's like every chance they have to put the Yankees away, they just figure out a way not to do it. What are your thoughts on this series, and especially the last two games?
This was a series unlike anything I've experienced in a while. Just the highs and the lows, watching those balls bloop in the right field. Yesterday, I was like punch to the gut. Each time, as soon as they left the bat, you knew no man's land. There's like praying, it skips away, skips in, like goes for the ground rule double. That no weird bounces. And then today, the win of the century is what I've been thinking of it as. It was just it's one of those movie highlights you think of. Down by four, being no hit, and all of a sudden shown no life. Struck out four times in the previous inning because we had the pass ball, just looking dead. And then sure enough, just Purdue gets it started. I thought it was gone off the bat, hit off the wall, and I was like, oh, I swear, like if it's just like a double and we fizzle out, I think that'd almost be worse. And then Renfro rips it into left, and then Vasquez, I called the little blooper into right, and then Franchi up the middle, and then Kike stays hot like ever, and then Matty B comes in and closes it out, and had a little bit of a. I was nervous, you never know, but I think even if we went down in the top of the ninth, I still have us winning that game. We are never say die. Even yesterday, even when we blew that lead in the eighth and the ninth, we got runners on. We were trying, but Chapman just managed to sneak one by Kike at the last minute.
Joey, your thoughts?
Yeah, this team just doesn't die. And today the air was just sucked out of the game out of Fenway the entire time. I mean, the seventh inning being 4 strikeouts, that was just like the nail in the coffin. The whole game, I was waiting. I was like, okay, they have to get that one hitter, then they get rolling. And then they get a gift in the seventh and get a runner on with a drop third strike. And then JD strikes out, who had an awful series. And I was like, okay, that's it. But then I think it has to do with this team doesn't give up, and the Yankees bullpen just cannot be trusted. And once you get to their bullpen, that's when they fizzle out. They don't stop. Like even yesterday, I had no service. I was at a graduation party. I didn't see any of the game, but then I saw they blew it in the eighth. But then I watched the 6-minute recap on MLB.com and seeing that they got the tying run the third, the winning run the second, and you had Kike up, who is the one guy right now you'd want in that spot. So it wasn't like Chavis was the one who struck out, and it's like we should have pinch hit. Like if anybody right now, I'd want Kike up facing him, and he missed that low pitch. But his team doesn't stop. They had the crazy comeback win on Thursday where it's the ninth inning, and it's like, okay, then Kike brings it in and ties it. This team just doesn't stop. Anytime you just give them an inch, they're going to take the mile, and they're going to win it. And that's what you need with a special team when you're going down this home stretch, when you're coming into September and October. And this team has just proven it time and time again.
Now, what do you guys think about them pulling? Evaldi had everything going yesterday, and I understand he hung a curveball, and that's you have somebody up, but I think in a situation like that, you give them at least the eighth, and it was the Red Sox bullpen that gave it up. Do you agree with that decision? Do you understand why he made it? What do you guys think about that move late in the game yesterday?
I mean, I definitely see it from both ends. I actually messaged Joey as soon as Evaldi came out, and I said I would have stuck with him. I do 100% understand why they pulled him. He was up around 100 pitches. He had just shown signs of wavering, and against the Yankees, you can't take that chance. But the way I see it, it had been his ball game all day. And he had Gardner down to 2 strikes. It was 1 pitch away from ending the inning and having a shutout. And I think they would have brought him out for the ninth, honestly, if he didn't give up that run. But I would have stuck with him in the eighth personally. Hindsight's 2021, as I'll say this year. I would have gone out if I went to anybody in the pen. I would have gone to Ottavino. So I think that is the right move. He has been locked down. Whitlock had pitched the night before, so Ottavino was fresh. He gives up 2 bloopers, and even the Ruben Odor hit off the wall would be an out at just about every other stadium besides probably Houston. So I see why they made the move. I wouldn't have made the move, but I don't still think it was the wrong move.
Well, I'll tell you, there was a lot of earthing going on beforehand today for Ottavino. But anyway, looking back, you go back to that, they were sputtering going up to the All-Star break, which you would think for a team that's been playing over their heads and everybody's looking forward to seeing their, getting away or going to the All-Star game or spending a little time with the family. What do you think of the way they bounce back this series? To me, and if you watch the NESN broadcast at all, they all agree this is the biggest win of the season. I mean, this is just kind of grabbing the knife. I don't want to be Jack Edwards, but grabbing the knife that was at their throat. And, they had a chance to do it yesterday. I wish they did. But what are your thoughts about the way that they took care of the Yankees and what's coming up, the stretch that's coming up over the next couple weeks as far as AL East opponents? Matt, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I think we definitely need to run with this hot streak. Coming out of the All-Star break too, I was losing 2 out of 3 to that Yankees team was kind of nervous leaving New York. We didn't really look good at all. And I was like, what if we aren't legit? And I was like, maybe we had just been playing over our heads. But then Toronto happened, playing at Buffalo. I don't know if that's at the Mile High City in Denver. The balls travel there unlike anything I've ever seen. And so that was a nice little jolt, little defibrillator to our chest. Both games that we played, obviously one got rained out, but taking them handedly. Our offense was the best it's been all season. We were hitting like 6 homers as a team, both nights. Everybody we scored 8 runs in the first inning. On that Tuesday or the Monday, whatever game wasn't canceled. So it was just like we had everything going in our favor, and then entering New York, we kept it going, winning 3 out of 4. I don't think you can ever claim a 4-game sweep. I think that's just unrealistic in baseball. So I think taking 3 out of 4 against the Yankees team, and I don't care what anybody says. Even the Yankees are hurt. It's still the Yankees. It's Red Sox Yankees. Things are different. Everything's different. So I think we need to take and run with it. I think playing 4 in a row against Toronto, hopefully we can just eat on their pitching again. Keep it going. I'm going on Tuesday. Hope to catch a Vladdy bomb, but I'd like it to be in a losing effort. But I think it's important for us to, Joey and I were talking about this the other day, stay above 600 during this AL East stretch to really just kind of give us some spacing, because Tampa is just nipping at our heels. And it seems that if we lose, we have a chance of losing the division. So we need to stay hot, keep winning, keep doing everything we can in our favor, because we're going to need some space, because who knows what can happen in September.
Joey, your thoughts?
Yep. I agree with everything Matt said, especially the Tampa thing. Tampa just doesn't lose. They lost today. So that win today meant even more, because that team, and they lost to a below average Cleveland team. So losing that game was huge. And then the Red Sox being able to capitalize. Coming off the All-Star break with that Yankee series being shortened from 4 games to 3 games right off the bat, and they lost key guys like Judge and Urshela. I was really hoping for the 2 out of 3 there, and then 3 out of 4 this weekend. Last weekend, that rainout game was just BS, but this weekend, I really thought they needed the 3 out of 4, not facing even. I agree with what Matt said. It just is amplified. Like, I think Brett Gardner is one of those guys who just sucks all the time. When he faces the Red Sox, it's a single here, just double there into the left center gap. He is the Yankee that steps up, and he knows, okay, it's Red Sox Yankees right now. And he comes up with the key hits for them. So I do think there's an intensity, even though they are a lackluster team. And if they were to lose today, I mean, German was throwing a no-hitter. But the shit he just throws up there, and the crappy curveball, and 90% of his pitches he throws is a curveball. It's like, the book on him. He's off speed and he's curveballs, and they're just chasing things, and they're swinging in the dirt. And it was just an ugly showing. And really, if you look at the span of these 4 games, the first game, they didn't score until the 9th inning and the 10th inning, and that game, first 8 innings was nothing. Friday night, you take out Devers, they only score 1 run on a sac fly. Yesterday, they scored a single run in each of the first 3, but then can't score anything for 6 innings, and then almost come back. And today it was the no-hitter. So they didn't have some breakout series versus the Yankees, but they know when to get their timely hits. They never give up. Even today, when I just thought they were giving up because the at bats they were putting up there, you just get a jolt from Verdugo with a double, and boom, everyone's like, okay, let's go win the game.
It's incredible, this team. I mean, you can't turn them off because they're always coming back. And whether or not, they're successful doing so, it seems more times than not. I don't know if you guys paid attention, but Sale had 7 strikeouts today. I think they could use a little bit of a jolt into their starting rotation. What do you think about how they're going to bring Sale back? Do you think they're going to stretch him out till 6, which is probably 2 more starts? Or do you think they're going to bring him up, maybe use him as a guy that's going to pitch 3 clean innings in the middle of a game? Or what do you guys think as far as Sale is concerned and where we're going to see him?
I think they've already announced. I think they said he's starting in Worcester this upcoming Saturday, and I'm interested to see who is starting for the Red Sox on Saturday, because I know when he made his first start in Portland, it was a Richards start the same day. And I saw someone say, like, this stuff is planned out, so him and Richards are on the same exact path. So when Sale's ready to come up, he takes a Richards start. So I'm interested. I think if he's in a Richards position come Saturday, that could be a game where, okay, it's the next Richards start, he's going to come up. And I think they keep stretching him out. I could see that. I think at most he has 2 games in Worcester. He's getting the one on Saturday if they wanted to hold him off to one more. But if they want to bring him up and give him 2 times through the lineup in his first game in the big leagues and slowly work him up and pair him with somebody like Whitlock or Valdez, who did unbelievable on Friday night when he came in for Erod going down, someone who can stretch out the extra innings. I'd rather have him pitch 4 or 5 innings up here and then do 2 or 3 innings with one of them than have him do another 4 or 5 innings down in Worcester against minor leaguers, just striking guys out left and right.
Matt, your thoughts?
Who started today? Perez. Because with the 6-man rotation that we're running right now with Houck back in, I think Perez would line up for next Saturday. So I think that whole Richards thing's maybe off. I'm like trying to think where he's going to. We have a 6-man rotation right now. I'm trying to think where Sale's going to go in or how that would change everything. I think you got to stick with Houck. He was pretty dominant against the Yankees. I think he pitched Thursday. He was pretty locked down. Definitely. He's been terrific in every time he's pitched for the Red Sox in the majors. And then I think Pivetta's a lock. Eovaldi's clearly a lock. I think Richards has shown Erod. I don't know. I can't say he's a lock anymore. I'd like to think he's a lock, but
he's a lock for the top 5. He's a lock for the rotation.
I think if anybody gets booted, I think if anybody gets booted right now, it's Perez. I can see Perez and Richards getting booted.
You're coming up to the point where you're going to have to find out what you have, and that includes moving some of your starters to the bullpen at some point in August. It's not going to be the 1st of August, but at some point you're going to have to do that. How important before the trade deadline do you think it is that Sale makes his way back? They figure out who they can move into the bullpen, and how much that's going to affect anything that they do at the deadline. Matt, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I think we need to get a good idea of how everybody's looking. I think Workman. I think we're kind of have this nostalgia with him that he was our best reliever in 2019. I think he needs to go. And Rios is kind of like a weird piece. He's kind of just like on our team the way I've been looking at it. Valdez, he pitched well the other night, so I feel bad saying that he has an opportunity to get sent down because I think based on what he did, he deserves the stick up. I think Rios, I think Workman both have a chance of being sent down. I could see if anybody from the rotation was going to go to the pen. I don't know. I'm a big fan. If you don't think they're a piece, trade them. I don't see how anybody in our rotation could really benefit us in the bullpen going forward. So if they traded Perez, sure, he's a fan favorite, but I'm sorry, in Boston, if you're not winning, you're dying, and fans are a little bit tighter around the neck here. We need to figure out what our plan is, because I think we are. I shouldn't say I think. I know we're legit this year. Their fight, everything. So I think figuring out the rotation will be extremely important, because I don't think we need to make a move pitching wise at the deadline. I think that's maybe a bullpen piece, maybe like a left-handed reliever, because Darwinson is shaky. He's just like hit or miss at times. So who knows what he's going to do. So I think if anything, you make a bullpen addition, but I don't see us adding any starters. So I think cutting starters and trading them to get a Rizzo, a Santana, just anything to try and help us improve our hitting at those weaker spots is very key.
Joey?
Yeah, I agree. I think the biggest tell will just be like how the next 5 days go leading up to the trade deadline. I could see Perez or Richards being a guy that is the big league guy that's paired with a couple minor leaguers to go get a lefty bat, a first baseman, another pitcher, most likely a reliever, I would guess, just with the built up they have. But it's also good to have these extra guys because, again, knock on wood, we haven't had any major injuries to starting pitchers. But if that Erod injury the other day was some type of major setback, suddenly these guys are becoming more important. I agree. The Workman today, was that today when he came in? That was today, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he gave another run today.
Perez, and he gave up the runs. When he came in, I felt like that's what Josh Taylor was in the beginning of April, where it's like, oh, we're just waving the white flag. He's going to come in and just tee up the ball, and they're just going to get hits off of him. And I just had no confidence in him when he came in. I agree. There's like this nostalgia that he was on 2013 and then he was gone, and then he came back and he was on 2018. Then he was great, and we traded him for pieces, and now he's back again. And it's like Shane fleeced him and got him back, but it's just like he's not there. The curveball isn't doing what he used to do. I agree with him going. Darwinson is just a hit or miss, but I just roll with him because he seems to hit more than he misses. He does miss time to time. He gets wild, but he hits. I'm not like confident like, oh, he's going to shut this down, but he's better than some. But I'd like a lefty reliever, another just strong bullpen piece. I like the Whitlock and Valdez. If Valdez is going to do what he did the other day, being your longer inning guys, and if you want to do a Houck, Richards, or Perez as a long inning guy, if you want to do them. If they want Houck to be a starter of the future, I don't want him to make him a bullpen piece. Just like keep him, if your plan is 2023, Houck to be a starter, keep him being a starter, because I think that movement with younger guys can kind of screw up their mentality. But I think this week, seeing what Chaim does, because Chaim has to do something. Somebody has to do something besides the Rays, for God's sakes. Anybody. Let the Pirates and Dodgers make a trade. I want something to happen.
Well, obviously, I was mistaken on the date because, as far as I'm concerned, the trade deadline date, summer hasn't even started yet. I mean, it's just rained every freaking day. I'm harvesting mushrooms off my back if anybody's interested. But I'll tell you what, I agree with you. I think they, depending on what their schedule is, it's important, first of all, to win the division straight out. They can shorten up that starting rotation. There's always going to be a guy in a playoff bullpen that's going to be a spot starter, if necessary. So having said that, and the fact that they're going to add to their bullpen, if you're Chaim, I mean, have we seen enough of Franchy at first base? I mean, damn, man, I want him to come over and play wiffle ball because he'll only hit it once. I mean, it'll be really long, but he'll only hit it once. So do you think you give that up and you go after a first baseman at the deadline between now and next Friday? Matt, what are you thoughts?
We need a left-handed first baseman. I'm a huge Bobby fan, but man, is it killing me watching some of those at bats. It's just, I don't mind when you're just having some off days, but he looks like he's afraid in the box. He's got no confidence. He strikes. Joey said it the other day. He strikes out, and it looks like his cat died or his dog died. Just distraught. And it's like, yeah. And baseball is an incredibly difficult sport. Hitting a 100-mile-per-hour fastball with a round stick is almost impossible for most people. So he has the ability. He's shown it. If he can heat up, I think he could be a first baseman of the future. It's a good thing to have another elite prospect with just in cases down in the minors, a lefty first baseman waiting in the wings, but he's obviously over in Tokyo right now, so it's not like he's going to be part of our plans anytime soon. But I think we need to make a piece. Rizzo, I thought when they all over Twitter the other day, it was the fake trade for Rizzo. I thought it was happening. I was extremely happy. And then I'd take Carlos Santana. I'd take Mitch Moreland. Mitch Moreland would fit perfectly with this team. Everybody knows him. Everybody loves him. The city loves him. He'd be a great fit. Who knows? Oakland may not give him up. They're in the hunt. I think Rizzo's our best bet. I don't think it will cost a lot. The Cubs kind of got fleeced for Yu Darvish, so I think we can maybe fleece him for Anthony Rizzo. But we need to make something because it's like we're getting no production. It's like having the pitcher hit in the ninth hole.
Joey, your thoughts?
I agree. One thing I'm afraid of, and I know I think we touched on this in past shows, is that you need a bullpen guy, you need a reliever or a lefty bat, and we kind of had those in Worcester. And what I'm realizing, I'm almost afraid Shane is going to be like, well, we need a lefty first baseman. I turned Franchi into a first baseman. We need a great starter. Here's Chris Sale. We need a reliever. We can put one of these guys in. That's what I'm afraid that Shane's not going to go out and get the big move, because Shane has proven that he can build for the future, but he hasn't been in the spot in July that, okay, we need to make this next 3-month push. What am I going to do to get there? The Steve Pearce acquisition, the Evaldi acquisition from 2018 that Dombrowski could do. So I hope he makes that move. Someone like Rizzo has an expiring contract. I think he's 32 or 33. I'd love to get that and lock him up try to get an extension out of him. You can't. With Cassis being in the minors, I think that's your future. Unless Bobby turns around, because like Matt said, I said that to him. I was at the game on Friday, and when Bobby strikes out and he puts his head down, and then he stares up at the video board and just watches that 94-mile-an-hour piece was down the middle. I guess I should have swung at that one. Whoopsie. And it's just like he hasn't all year. I mean, yeah, it was great last year, but he just hasn't picked himself up. He hits the ball hard. And I've seen the stats about his hard hit contact is one of the top in the league, but he just hits it at people. But he just seems too much in his head. So if he was put in a piece for somebody going forward, I'd be fine with that. Franchi, I could care less about. Get him out of here if you want to, if that's going to help you get a lefty first baseman. And then if they were to get a veteran piece like a Santana or a Rizzo or a Moreland, and then you could help shape a guy like Cassis who's going to be up here in the next couple of years. They're both lefties, so they wouldn't be able to play at the same time, but having a veteran presence like them, especially a Moreland who knows the city and knows how to win, or a Rizzo who started here, has played in a historic park with a big market like Wrigley, and then coming back and who has won in the postseason as well. I'd like either one of those. So I hope that they do something. I think Rizzo would be your cheapest and easiest asset to get. And then I know the Cubs have Kimbrel. I don't need Kimbrel, but if they want to piece another piece with it of pitching that they have, I would take that too.
Yeah, and you make a good point. I think this team has played well enough to deserve an addition, whatever it is. I mean, guys in the clubhouse, they sit around, they know everything that's going on. There's not a lot of guys in the big league clubhouse that might move, but they just want that, hey, the recognition. I know you guys have worked hard. You've got to this point. We're going to add to the squad and make this push going forward. I'd love a Moreland. I think he's a perfect fit. Like you said, he's played here before. It's probably not going to be that expensive. And, he's a guy that just has shown a nose to show up in the big times in the postseason. So that going forward, well, looking back, first half of the season could have gone better than it possibly did. Going forward, how much do you think this next week and a half, 2 weeks defines this club, not only with the trade deadline on Friday, but with the, they're going to be playing within their division pretty much. How much do you think we'll be looking back at these 2 weeks and saying that's when they made it or that's when they started to falter? We'll start with you, Joey.
I think that the Tampa series is what it's going to be because Tampa doesn't lose when we're playing somebody else. And the Red Sox have been very good. That's why we've been holding these single game leads. Or yesterday you drop down, but they still win today and get another 1 game back. But if Tampa comes in here, and I think we play them 7 or 8 times in the next couple of weeks, and you play 500 ball or less, they're going to take that lead in the division. You can't play down to the Blue Jays right now with them coming in for 4 games at home. They got to keep their pedal to the metal and just keep that down, and hopefully Tampa falters. But it could be something where they play these next couple series, and then it's the middle of August, and just like in 2018 when they played the Yankees in the 4-game series, and that I think they were up 4 games going into the series, and if the Yankees swept, it would be a tied series, but then they swept and it puts them away. I think that could happen again in the middle of August for the Rays or the Red Sox. And right now, the Rays just added Nelson Cruz, which terrifies me. I think that was a perfect addition for them. It's exactly someone they needed in the middle of their lineup, veteran presence who people seem to love, clubhouses love, just a big bat. He had his 2nd home run of the weekend for them already, just like comes in and just clicking for them. And then Rich Hill, they just got minor league guys, so that didn't do anything, but I saw this comparison that it was either the last game Hill pitched or the second to last game. He got pulled out in a controversial position during the game where he didn't want to, and he kind of barked at Cash, and suddenly he's traded. Last year in the World Series, Snell got pulled out in a controversial thing, didn't agree with Cash or the nerds that Tampa has running their department, then he's gone this offseason. So it seems like Tampa might have what their plan is, and if a pitcher doesn't agree, he's out of there. So that wasn't big, but the Nelson Cruz thing was huge, and Shane has to do something to say, hey, we're still the first place team, and we're going to come in front of you, Rays, and you're not adding Nelson Cruz and going to pass us.
Matt, your thoughts on that?
I agree 100%. We need to keep our foot on the throats of Toronto. Just keep on powering through. I think we need to take 3 out of 4. I mean, if we do go 2-2, it's not the end of the world against Toronto, but I think optimal is 3 to 4. Obviously, a 4-game sweep. And then, what was it? Then we play Tampa after that. Is that we play them next weekend? So yeah, I think that will be the biggest series of our entire season. I think will be next weekend. I think we'll truly define: are we the division winners or are we the wild card contender? If we leave next Sunday with a 3-game lead in the division, I don't see us losing it. Or I could see us tying it, but I can never see us falling behind. I see us taking the division. Now, if we leave it up by 1 or tied, I see us. Who knows? We're going to be deciding who's pitching game 1, who's pitching the wild card game, and that's not a thought I like. I don't want to have our entire season, I'll call it a miracle season, coming down to the 1 game, because who knows what could happen. Blue singles in the right could happen and cost us what could be a great season, a great opportunity. So I hope that we really put them away, and I think we will. I think as long as our offense can stay just respectable, we were kind of faltering this weekend. If we can keep it like we have when with Toronto, I don't see us losing. I don't see our pitching being our downfall this week. I think if we're going to beat Tampa and take 2 out of 3 from them at least, I think our offense really needs to spark up, because what was the last game that we had against Tampa? We had a no-hitter going into the 8th inning, and we lost that, and then we ended up losing on a pass ball without scoring a single run, and that's just something that can't happen against a team that's going to be neck and neck with us for the division. So our bats need to wake up for the Tampa series, and then especially, and with Toronto too, because that's just as important. A win against Toronto is just important against a win against the Rays technically right now.
And you got a good point there as far as, them going into the 8th inning like yesterday. This team is kind of topsy-turvy as well. I mean, they can scare you. It looked like a rocking chair win yesterday for Eovaldi, and it turned into, I literally walked from where I'm sitting right now over to grab a saw, move it over, plug it in, and all of a sudden the Red Sox are behind. So that worries me a little bit, but we've already talked about the first half in another show. Tell me what you guys foresee going down the stretch. Obviously, we've talked about how important these next couple weeks are. The reason I hate interleague play is all of those division games should be in late August, September, battling it out. You're fighting you're either fighting for the division, you're fighting for a wild card, or you're fighting to keep that team out of the playoffs. But what do you foresee after they get past this 2 week stretch, do you think that they're an injury-prone team, as Evaldi is as well? Do you think that might be something that catches up with them this year? Matt, we'll start with you.
I certainly hope the injury bug does not catch up to us. You see teams like the Yankees that are extremely good on paper, and I think if they stay healthy, they're competing with us too. At the end of the day, they've just battled injuries the entire season. So hopefully we can stay healthy. And like you said, I'm a big fan of having the important games in August and September. Those teams like the Orioles knocking us out back in 2011. Like, I even live for that type of stuff. There should be rivalries for a reason. So I think that the next few weeks will be a good tell, and hopefully after that, if we're riding high, we can keep it going, cruise through the weaker teams that we're going to face. I'd assume we're probably going to. It's still NL East, so I'd assume probably teams like the Marlins, or is it the Marlins? I don't know who we're facing in the league coming up.
Yeah, they closed the season with Washington, but they've got 3 against the Mets, and it's just a situation, as far as I'm concerned, that they shouldn't clog things up. You should make it exciting. For the fans there. All right, off of Red Sox topic, how weak is that Cleveland name, the Guardians? God almighty. I mean, seriously, is that they gonna, start a franchise on one of these, the cartoon movie stuff that's going on? I mean, it's ridiculous. That is horrible. That is really, really too touchy for me. What do you guys think? You guys probably, it matters more what you think because you're more relevant. I'm more get off my lawn type now. But what do you think about the name change? Joey, start with you.
I actually do not hate the name change. I wasn't for the name change. I know, like, all these changes, and it's like they don't want to change off the Indians. It's whatever. I don't know. I won't get into that. But I wasn't for them to change the Indians. I wasn't tweeting like, get this name out of here. But they made the decision to change. They're just going to fall. They had to fall in line with every other team. Like, it's just what's going to happen over the next couple of years with the pussification of America and everyone that changes. The Guardians, at first, in the video I watched with Tom Hanks narrating, I feel like they didn't do a good job of explaining it. But then when I saw the statues that they have right outside the stadium that have been there forever, I kind of understood it. They kept the ending with the DINS, which I kind of liked, because when I first watched the video, I was like, what does this have to do with Cleveland? The Spiders seemed like a popular name because that was from the 40s, and you got the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I thought they could do something with that, but then I didn't understand it. But then also, when you flip the things, if like there was a team like the Guardians and it was the Boston Indians, and then they're like, you know what, we're renaming the Boston Indians and then the Boston Red Sox. It's like, okay, our name's after a pair of socks. So it's been around for over 100 years. But when you flip the name, the Guardians is a cooler name than the Sox. But because the Sox have a history and have been around, they're the better thing. So with due time, I think it will come and be fine. I don't hate the name, but I wasn't pounding down the door to get it changed. And I actually do like the meaning once I learned what it was.
Matt, your thoughts?
I kind of like the premise. See, I don't like how they kept it the Guardians. I think they kind of like kidded it out. I was talking about that with my roommate today. We're just like, I think they should have stuck like Cleveland Guards or something, like just one syllable, like Guardians, 3 syllables takes too long. I was saying it. I was like, just those things that was like going through my head. I was like, it just sounds kind of lame. And I was like, the Guardians. It's cool. Seeing the statues from outside the stadium, it's really cool. It's a cool concept. I think there could have been something more along those lines. Guardians, like, now I just think of the Guardians of the Galaxy. It's Marvel has taken over, Disney's taken over to where that's all I can think of. And it's really throwing me off. And it almost sounds like they're just making it to try and, I'm worried that they're doing it to try and increase younger supporters too, because of the whole Guardians of the Galaxy, if that will be subliminal. But I really wanted like Cleveland Rocks or something like that, because I'm a big music guy. There's the St. Louis Blues. I thought they could have done something along the Cleveland Rocks, really just hammer home that rock and roll, just anything with music, rock and roll, just anything. That's what I was really hammering home. Cleveland Spiders would have been cool, kind of going back to like Cy Young's time and Tris Speaker. But it's not the worst name I've ever heard of. It's better than the Seattle Krakens, but it's not. It's definitely
I
nothing
like
I
the
would
Kraken, by the way. Release the Kraken. All right. Let me tell you, I'll give you 2 examples of what it should be, and I'm probably going way past when you guys were born, but it should be either Cleveland Rivers on Fire or River Fire or Mistake by the Lake, to steal one from Oil Can Boyd. But no. That's what happens when you build a park by the ocean. Was Oil Can's quote. But anyway, I think that's kind of weak. I think it's kind of tough when you take away, it's a name that's been around forever. I understand the whole, Chief Yahoo thing. But anyway, other than the Red Sox, what do you think the biggest name that gets moved between now and next Friday is? And do you think that there'll be more movement early, or do you think it's all going to come down to Friday? Joey, I'll start with you.
I think it's all going to come down to Friday because I feel every GM right now has been waiting for someone else to make the first move. And it seems like Nelson Cruz kind of was that move, because I feel always usually at the beginning of July, there's a big name move that happens weeks before. Like Manny Machado went to the Dodgers at the beginning of July back in 2018, but there hasn't been a big name. I really think the biggest team that's going to be sellers that has guys is the Cubs and the Twins. The Twins already started with Nelson Cruz. The Cubs already started with Jock Peterson. So you got a couple guys up in the Twins with Josh Donaldson, Jose Berrios, Mitch Garver, whoever else they want to throw up, Kenta Maeda. The Cubs, you have Chris Bryant, you have Javi Baez, you have Craig Kimbrell, Anthony Rizzo. I think it's those 2 teams. And a third fringe team, I don't even know where they are in the standings right now, the Nationals. If they wanted to offload Scherzer, he's getting older, but he's having a good year, to a competitive team. I think they can get a good haul. I don't know what his contract's like, but I could see them doing a big piece. But really, I think it's the Twins and the Cubs are the biggest sellers with the most guys. They can really pack up their farm system for the future.
Matt, your thoughts?
I agree with those teams. I think the Nationals may actually stay put because that division's been weird because they're all like games behind the Mets, but the Mets haven't played as many games because of COVID at the start of the season. And who knows if anybody trusts the Mets, especially with DeGrom going down. I think that Scherzer stays put. I think that if they had fallen a little bit back in the division, I think he would be the biggest name gone, without a doubt. An ace, Cy Young, and first ballot Hall of Famer, he would have been the biggest name. He would have been like Verlander in 2017. He would have gone to the World Series contender. I think besides that, Chris Bryant will probably be the biggest name on probably Dell, or I think Trevor Story. I think Trevor Story is arguably better than Chris Bryant. It's hard to tell right now. But I think he's a lock to be traded, Trevor Story. It's just when. I heard that they were waiting to trade him until after the All-Star break. It's now after the All-Star break. So let's get something done. Let's see some. I don't care if even the Yankees get him. I just want to see something.
Well,
Gallo too. The Rangers have some pieces.
Yep.
Gallo, they have a pitcher. They have their outfield.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there. I can just tell you this: Nelson Cruz, if you cut him open and counted the rings, he's like 240 years old. I mean, the guy's been around forever. Can still swing the bat. That would have been a great addition. I would take Martinez in the outfield over him. So, but anyway, as we head down to the stretch, why don't we do this every Sunday? We'll do a recap. Let's talk after the trade deadline. I have a feeling that Bloom's just going to do something just to do something. So it's probably going to be somebody that we haven't even thought about. I'd love Rizzo. I don't think he's going to touch anybody in the minors to get rid of him, to trade for a rental. And, it's probably, like I said, it's going to be somebody that can play a little bit of first base, maybe play a little bit of the outfield. and see what happens. And I hope Franchi is just, a trivia question somewhere down the road. But it's looking pretty good. I mean, this team could drive you nuts as far as the way they give up these games. I mean, they could have put the Yankees out twice by now. But, I think their biggest competitor is coming in this week with Tampa Bay, and we'll see how it plays out. Any final thoughts, guys? Start with you, Joey.
I'm just hoping Heim does something to get us something, and I hope it's not just a move to make a move. Like you said earlier, they deserve him giving them something to jolt them and give them that extra step that the Braves just did with Cruz. And I hope he proves that he can find out what is the weak point and to build on and can make that move. And then I think down the stretch, even if he doesn't change the team at all, the biggest thing, knock on wood, will be the health of this team, specifically the rotation in the bullpen. They can stay healthy. I am very confident with this team.
Matt, your thoughts?
As you were thinking that was going to be something that we weren't thinking, a name popped in my head that just came out of nowhere, and I think it'd be a dark horse. I think we could. This guy fits the brand of Heim Bloom trade. I could see us getting Brad Miller from the Phillies, a first baseman that plays utility and has left-handed pop. I think that could be the random secret move, the little piece to the puzzle that Heim shells out a low A player and some cash or a player to be named later for a piece that will just kind of be another bat in our lineup that I don't know if he'll really serve a purpose, but it's a move to make a move, and it'd be a lefty to position with Dahlbeck. So I can see that.
All right, I lied. One last question. Yankees buyers or sellers at the deadline?
Oh.
Matt?
If you would ask me this yesterday, I'd say they're buyers. I think today they're cleaning house. I think Boone's going to be fired after today. I don't know. I have a hard time saying they'll be sellers. I think that I can see them staying put. I truly could. I don't think they'll shell out prospects. I don't think they really have the prospects to shell out right now. I don't think that they can take that chance. But the Yankees will look different a week from now than they do today. I'll say that. But I think that'll be more front office wise. I think everything's going to be a big shakeup because what they're doing is not working.
Joey, your thoughts?
If they're smart, I think they're sellers, because teams like the Red Sox in the last decade have proven you can go from a good team to a bad team and come right back up again. Move things around, build pieces. Like it's not a 7-year breakdown and build back up process. If they were smart, I think they would do something like that. Take the pieces that they have, go down, but they're the Yankees. And I don't think that the Steinbrenner name and Cashman will let them shell house right now and for the future, because there'll be too much of an uproar. But it seems like Hal doesn't want them to go above the luxury tax. So I don't think I think they're going to stay put, basically. I could see them going for a Gallo or Story, because that would be the smart move for the future. And it would give people be like, look, we tried. I don't think they fire Boone or Cashman, because they had 4 other chances this year to do it. They did it the first time the Red Sox swept them, the second time the Red Sox swept them, when the Mets went in the Yankee Stadium and swept them. They've had these chances and they haven't done it. And I think if you're trying to fire them now, you're trying to make up for lost time on the season, and you should have done it a month ago. If they do it now, I think it's more of a please the audience type move than we're trying to make a change and hold on to this season. But I don't think they'll do anything major.
Well, I'll tell you this. If George was alive, they wouldn't even get plane tickets home. They would all be fired. Yeah. I don't know where Cashman gets his GM for life.
It doesn't make sense.
And Boone has never impressed me as a manager. So, but you know what? The more they screw things up, the better off it is. And we'll see what happens. But I'll tell you what, let's touch base during the week. We'll go live again next Sunday. And until then, he's Joey. He's Matt. I'm Kevin. And you've tuned into Aging Ash and Sticky Balls. It makes me laugh every time I say it. Here on BSD. I hope you'll join us again. And thanks for taking the time, guys. We'll talk soon.
All right.
All
right. Take care.